Hello, my friends, and welcome to The Bright Side. I'm your host, Bob Herzog. And hey, do you hear that? The little music right there? Isn't that nice? Here we are, episode 2, locked and loaded and ready to go. But before we proceed, I would like to take some time to speak to some of the constructive criticism we received about episode 1. I asked for your input. You gave it. We are grateful. First, I should be less bad, which frankly will be the toughest hurdle, but we will strive to overcome. One of the things that people recommended is that I be less anchory Bob and more just talky Bob, and I will try. But unfortunately, as you know, I am a very serious person.
You got like 30 seconds.
I know, I got 30 seconds. Oh my gosh, I broke my bronzer again! That is the worst thing that's ever happened in my whole life. Okay, hang on. There's literally bronzer all over the floor. We'll get to that later. My coat's not on.
30.
Ah.
You left a handprint on the seat.
Flaming Cheetos. Good morning, I'm Bob Herzog.
I'm Sheila Gray, and we're here to save the world.
It's just, I feel much more heroic with that music than I did before.
I'm glad you found your cape and you were able to do that.
This is, and thank goodness for my buddy Chuck over here. He remembered my Elvis costume was back over there.
We're just simple news anchors. We're not really heroes.
Speak for yourself, Sheila.
Okay.
So clearly it's going to be tough to break out of that side of myself, that laser-focused, cucumber cool persona that comes so naturally to me. But it shall be my quest. Now, another thing you mentioned, and I brought up there right at the top, a little bit of music, a little jingle-jangle stuff there, so we've got that too. Finally, graphics. Nothing yet there, zilch, but we are working on it. But again, thank you all for reaching out. Thanks for watching and sharing the first episode and for subscribing and sharing the YouTube channel with your friends. We really hope you'll do all that again for episode 2. But enough of that. It is time to take a look on the bright side. Since last we spoke, we found out Zac Efron is going to be involved with a remake of Three Men and a Baby. And a new trailer was released for the Saved by the Bell reboot. And apparently, I can get paid to be a wizard. All of which have me so excited, but so scared. This is Ian Brackenbury Chanel's uniform as the official Wizard of Christchurch, New Zealand. He has an apprentice who he is training to be his successor. Now this is for real, folks. Born in the UK, he moved to New Zealand in the 1970s, which somehow just makes sense to me. Anyway, he became well known around town for being a wizard. And in 1998, they started paying him for it. City Council pays him the equivalent of about $10,000 a year. Wingardium Leviosa, Expelliarmus, Expecto Patronum. See, I know the spells. Christchurch, call me. By the way, my Patronus is a lemur. Now, of course, wizards, they do more than just cast spells. They also have broomsticks, pet owls, and occasionally invisibility cloaks, which is what you'd think a Tennessee woman was wearing when she recently got a new driver's license photo taken, but it turns out that's not the case. When Jade Dodd got her new ID in the mail, she was stunned to see a picture of an empty chair right there on the card. When she went in to try and get it fixed, the DMV workers were just as surprised as she was.
The lady at the DMV did not really believe me when I was like, hey, I need my license fixed because it just has a chair on it. And then she looked it up in the system and she was like, oh, I need to go get my manager for this. My boss thinks it's funnier than anyone. I was at work Friday and he pointed to a chair outside of his office door and he was like, I thought this was you. I waved at it this morning. I was like, thanks.
The Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security was able to get to the bottom of the situation when Jade first got her license. Turns out a few years ago, an employee accidentally took a picture of the empty chair during the transaction and saved that to her profile. Dodd says she now has a new driver's license, and this time she did show up in the photo. So depending on the bouncer you run into, that's either the worst fake ID picture ever or the absolute best. And hey, speaking of pictures and videos too, man, did you guys come through for me. We talked in our first episode about just how important your input would be on the bright side, and I asked for you to send me photos and videos of your doggos beating the heat during the dog days of summer because animal videos just make us happy. Here are just a few. Amy sent in this video of Duke, Norris Lake in Tennessee. Gets awful hot there up on the boat, and sometimes old Duke just needs to take a dip. Love it, Amy. Thank you for that. And see, then there's Newt. He doesn't go straight dog paddle with it, preferring to use the kickboard to make sure those legs really get a workout. So it's well, not so much just leg day, but front and back leg day. Thanks to Lauren for that one from Bellevue, Kentucky. And then there's Misha. Tricia says they discovered Misha loves the water, especially when directly from the hose. Looks like a cat going after the beam from a laser pointer. And speaking of cats, lest I be lambasted by my feline friends, next week will be your week, cat people. How are the kitties holding up in the summer heat? Send in those pictures, videos too, especially those sidesy videos like Lauren and Tricia sent. They look more embiggened. Anyway, you'll find the link to upload yours down in the description of this video. Now, you may have to click the show more down there in the description in order to see the link, but it's down there, I promise. Hey, let's just keep it rolling with the old cat conversation. An adorable black cat in Virginia is becoming a Hollywood star, or at least a star's fur baby. The kitty's name is Dennis Quaid, and that is also who's adopting him. Lindsay Ward reports Mr. Quaid found out about the cat Dennis Quaid from a local news Adopt-A-Pet segment.
Danielle Ulmer gives kitty Dennis Quaid all the hugs and scratches, but soon those will come from the Dennis Quaid.
That's DQ, is it?
It was really off the wall, but I just couldn't resist. Had to.
He couldn't pass up adopting this little guy with his name from the Lynchburg Humane Society.
Well, I'm out to save all the Dennis Quaids of the world, however we can do that.
While it's not on the top 10 list for most popular cat names, it has certainly sparked a lot of buzz. Meet Dennis Quaid. After 10 News featured Dennis Quaid the cat in our Clear the Shelter segment.
Hi there.
How are you?
How you doing?
That story caught the attention of the Hollywood actor, musician, and now podcaster.
There he is.
Yeah, there he is.
Up on the couch. We also have the pet show that Jimmy here is doing, and I'm executive producing on it, and it's really just turned out to be really one of my favorites.
A shelter cat with his name, plus a pet podcast, equals the perfect adoption story.
We're going to actually rescue this kid.
A tale so good, shelter staff didn't believe it at first.
I was like, oh, there's no way this is real. Like, someone's pranking us. I was like, the real Dennis Quaid.
We reached out to the shelter. It took us a while for them to actually believe us. And then once we got past the no, we're not trolls or crazy people.
After that, they got to meet kitty Dennis Quaid via Zoom. And this weekend, Jimmy will fly from LA to Lynchburg to pick up the new office pet.
Maybe I should start naming animals in shelters after different celebrities and see who bites.
We've already talked about that. We're like, all right, so everyone pick your top 3 favorite celebrities.
Hey, it worked for Dennis Quaid the cat, and he's already mastered his close-up.
Having someone name a pet after you, that feels like a very bucket list kind of thing. You know, it's never too late to get started on your bucket list, by the way. That's exactly what a Michigan woman is doing this week. 103-year-old Dorothy Pollock decided to start her bucket list with getting a tattoo. She got a frog tattoo right there on her forearm. And after the tattoo, Pollock crossed something else off her list, riding on a motorcycle. Pollock decided to start her bucket list after spending months in isolation during a coronavirus lockdown at a nursing home. And 103 must just be the official number of this episode of The Bright Side. You ready to get all gussied up? Gussie Dennis wants to let her light shine. She's a wife, mother, and grandmother who also just celebrated that 103 milestone. And while she celebrated with her family and friends, she also told Anthony Costura about some life lessons she's learned along the way.
God give me a light, and I'm gonna let it shine.
You don't have to know Gussie Dennis long before you realize
He done brought me over the mountain.
she's the star of her own show.
There you go.
And at 103, she's earned it.
The measles, the polio, and here now this virus, we've been through several things.
Over the weekend,
Happy birthday!
friends and family celebrated her in whatever way they could. In person,
Happy birthday!
in the car,
Happy 103rd!
and video chat.
All right, may God bless you.
But amid the celebration of another landmark birthday, Gussie is certain to reflect on the humble beginnings that brought her here.
We didn't have a running hot water.
Born in 1917, her parents raised her on this plantation house in Greenville, South Carolina. She picked cotton from a young age, taught school, worked in a hospital, and even modeled to raise money for her local church while she zigzagged across states. That's no easy task for a young black woman of the time, but she did it with confidence and style.
If you can do it, I can do it too. I had a determination to do whatever I wanted to do.
She eventually got married and had children of her own. And as the family tree grows, she now passes on the life lessons she's learned along the way.
She definitely always tells me to have patience and be wise in my decision making.
Her best advice for us to live that long?
Treat others right. A person may treat you wrong, but just hello and keep on going.
And in true Gussie fashion, her biggest birthday wish is for everyone to experience her unending joy.
I wish God would bless all of you all like He's been blessing me.
Don't you just love Gussie? I love Gussie. How about one more to inspire? Several children right here where I am in Hamilton County, Ohio, have their forever homes now following a back-to-school adoption ceremony. My friend Angela Ingram shows us how the kids found their forever families.
Dressed up for a special day in their best outfits, hair perfect, and little masks that show what this day means to them. The Humphreys children were chosen by a woman whose heart was big enough to love all three biological siblings.
I can't even put it into words. Like they are awesome kids. I'm just so happy to say that they're mine officially. It's just surreal.
It's been a long road for Tiana, Alexander, and Ace. Amber Humphreys fostered them for 3 years before the big day.
Did she teach you how to brush your teeth? What else?
And wash my face, and make up my bed, and get dressed.
And lots of good things?
Because she gives us food and nice clothes to wear, and new toys, and she gives us a nice bed for us.
Judge Ralph Winkler and Judge Amy Searcy held the second annual Back-to-School Adoption Day.
Kids are getting their forever family and their forever names today. So in the middle of the school year, they won't have to change their names.
9 children total were adopted. Teacher Michelle Sulfridge adopted one of her students a few years ago. Sulfridge and her wife then opened their home to the rest of the siblings.
We just fell in love. We were like, we got to have these kids, and then we wanted all of them. They're incredible children, and they've changed our lives.
There's so much about our life that sort of wasn't official.
For a long time.
Yeah, for a long time. And so it's just really neat to have the law recognize all of this.
Yeah. These families didn't form in the traditional sense, but they are perfect together because the kids were wanted, chosen, loved, and now adopted.
Loved. It's kind of what we all want, isn't it? Keep spreading that love around, everybody, and keep maybe checking to see if your friends want to look on the bright side. Go ahead and share this particular episode with them. Also share around and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, people here subscribe and some think there's a cost associated with that, but no, I promise subscribing just like following or liking, but it's on YouTube. Thanks again for making this happen, everyone. We'll see you next time when we take a look on the bright side.